overtook their fathers, you poisoned their food. Survivors crawl, writhe in pain as they're bathed in blackened rain. War because their leaders wanted more. Never forget what this war has wrought, or how men learned to open the box, or who learned to break the atomic bombs and burn this world with atomic bombs. Make them all! 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and any goes. Open doors, drop the ball.
Welcome back to Draft for Upside on the Legend Sports Network, found at Lenny Melnick, FantasySports.com. We are Draft for Upside, DRAUGHT, like draft beer, because we're a bunch of alcoholics. Adam, welcome to the show, and what are you drinking today?
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the welcome. I'm actually just drinking water right now. I have not cracked open a beer yet.
Well, you know, if it ain't Scottish, it's crap, so go get you a Scotch ale.
Probably not a bad idea. I'm planning on trying to get up really, really early to watch some British Open in the morning or some Open Championship, depending on what you prefer. So trying not to drink too much and stay up too late. We'll see how that goes.
That's boring.
It is, definitely.
That's boring. I hate it so much. I hate everything you just said.
Sorry to disappoint you. Hey, waking up to watch golf is not bad. You can't hate that.
Yeah, especially if you have a beer in your hand when you do it.
At 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Yes.
watching golf.
You should still be up. You shouldn't go to bed early. You should still be up.
I'm going to need some stimulants if I'm going that route.
Yeah. I got your stimulant right here.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's true. It's okay. It's better that you don't. It's
Keep me in the dark.
What's the word, Mr. Emmerich? Are you sticking around with us? Or are you peacing out and we'll see you next week?
I don't know. I might hang out for a little bit here.
Yeah, I knew we couldn't get rid of you that easy.
I am out of the claw. I'm thinking about going up and getting a 16-ouncer from 7-Eleven.
That's a good plan. That's a very good plan. All right. Well, I'm not sure Mark's going to join us, so let's not wait for him. And let's get into this. Why don't you give us the course breakdown, Mr. Adam White, the PGA superstar of Draft for Upside.
Let's do it. It is the final major of the year. For the first time ever, the British Open, or the Open Championship, is going to be rounding out the major season this year. A little bit of a sad feeling. Also a lot of excitement leading up to the Open, but I'm just going to enjoy it while it's here. We got 4 days of great golf, very unique golf compared to what we're watching week to week. So pretty fired up about it. They're back at Royal Portrush. This has not been in the Open Rota here the last several years. So it's going to be a unique course. You know, we had a few courses in the last month that the guys had never played before. So this is going to be unique in that we have no real course form for these guys on this course. We can look at links players and whatnot, but Royal Portrush, the Dunluce course, I think it's called, is a par 71, measures just under 7350. Pretty traditional links course. It's very unique in that sometimes you can hit a shot that looks pretty good off the tee in the fairway, but it ends up in a pot bunker, which are truly hazards. A lot of the fairway bunkers you see in the States, you can get out of and advance your ball to the green pretty easily. Not the case here. You hit into a bunker, you're basically pitching out sideways and hitting right next to most guys hitting their second shot.
I heard this course, though, has less pot bunkers than some of the others that we've seen in the past.
It does. The pot bunkers that are there are very penal, but there are less of them than there have been in past Open. So I think there are 64 total is the number that I have on the entire course. Which,
I see 62, but, that's not split hairs.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to check our sources. So at any rate, less than 4 bunkers per hole is not many by Open Championship course standards. But I still think they'll cause havoc. I still think we have to look at guys who can hit it straight off the tee. Overall, I mean, I think it's going to play relatively easy with the exception of a little bit of rough stretch of weather on Friday. But, I mean, who the heck knows? It's a coastal course over there. That stuff can change overnight. It's kind of the fun of this event because you don't know when those wave advantages, the AM, PM, or PM, AM, are actually going to help you out or hurt you. So it's a bit of a crapshoot. It's the most random major of all 4. We've had a lot of studs winning historically over the last 7-8 years, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was a guy you never expected come Sunday that ends up taking it down. You'll hear a lot of buzz this week. It's Rory McIlroy's home course when he was growing up. Fired a 61 when he was like 16 or 17 years old, which still holds as the course record. They have added a lot of tees, so it's playing longer than it did then. It was closer to 7,000 at that point in time, but if it's not blowing, we could see scores 18 to 20 under. If it blows like crazy, I mean, this could be the highest scoring major of the year. So it's going to be an exciting week, and I'm pretty fired up for it.
I dig it. Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
Which player is it that they referred to as Beef?
That would be Andrew Beef Johnston.
Andrew Beef Johnston.
Fired at 61 in the last round of the Irish Open last week to finish.
They kept talking about Beef on this podcast I was listening to today, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. They never said his name. I rewound it 5 times.
Beef Johnston. I think he's down at 67 or 800 on DraftKings.
Well, he's got to be in at least one of my 19 lineups because his nickname is Beef.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you could just go on all food, like fat dudes and guys with food-related names, and you could have a good time with it.
Well, we'll work on that at some point here. If we run out of breakdown, we'll start thinking of a couple of themes. Since I have 19 teams, I can put a couple of goofy ones in.
Absolutely. You want to chat a little bit about what types of golfers we're looking at this week?
Absolutely, man. I mean, for me, for these kind of opens, I weigh heavily into experience. Players that are in good form, some of the more experienced players, players that have played these courses a lot, players that have caddies that have been with successful players. A little less stat-based for these big majors and a little bit more feel-based for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same this week. It's just such a unique setup as compared to what most of the top guys in the world play. Even from the other 3 majors, it's completely unique. So you got to get the ball on the ground a little bit more coming into the greens. You have a lot of room for creativity around the greens when you're trying to get up and down if you miss one. That being said, when it's windy, when you have courses set up like this will be in the elements, you got to go with guys who can ball strike, who can keep the ball in the fairway and give themselves lots of opportunities for birdies. Just looking at the forecast, it doesn't look like it's going to be crazy windy on any of the days. But as always, it's going to be raining for a good chunk of it. You'll see showers come through, and then half an hour later, they'll be in some sunshine. It feels a lot like Michigan, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I heard a comment today that that shore of Ireland there, it can have all 4 seasons in a single day, and I'm like, yeah, man, I grew up in northern Michigan. I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah, for sure. I do like your current form fit this week. Going back the last 4 or 5 years, that's really tended to be a common theme of the guys that have finished well in this championship or even won it. So I do like guys that come in, having either won or finished very high in the last few events they've played, because I think it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of grit to get through this week. And you can't let the occasional bogey or bad bounce bother you. So I'm looking for guys that have, like you said, a little more experience out here. They're not going to let a bad bounce bother them. They're going to bounce back from it and kind of stay even keeled. So the veterans, I think, will have a better shot this week than they do on the bomb and gouge courses, like really the first 3 majors have been.
And can I ask you a question based on one of my comments here? Is I got kind of turned on to it by listening to several different things while out and about today. Is there any information that can be pulled somewhere about the experience of caddies who are assigned with these guys or employed by these guys? Is there any caddy info out there? Like for MLB, you can look up umpire info, same with NFL. Is there caddy info anywhere out there? Does Fantasy National provide any caddy info?
Not that I'm aware of, man. I think you have to go based on maybe some stories you've seen, guys mentioned who's caddying for him. Brooks's caddy's been in the headlines this week because Tiger wanted to play a practice round with Brooks, gain some course knowledge from Brooks's caddy, who happens to be a member at Port Rush, and Brooks gave him the cold shoulder, man. Didn't even text him back. So
nice.
That's a boss move by Brooks. But
all right, there we go. We relaunched the webpage, Adam. Maybe we can kick it off by being the caddy experts. We can search the Twitter and search the feeds, and we can post caddy data.
I know who a lot of the caddies are for some of the top guys and even some of the second tier guys, but knowing what caddies have more knowledge of this type of course or this course particularly, that could give you a little bit of an edge.
Right. We'll call it the Caddy Daddy segment.
Oh, I like that.
We'll be your Caddy Daddy.
I'll do my best to get some insight here so we can get that kicked off on the site.
I like it. That sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's a true story. All right, shall we start? Do you have more comments you want to make, or shall we start looking at players?
No, I mean, I think it's just going to be a fun week to watch. It's very very picturesque out there. So as you're watching the event, whether you're on an all night bender, watching overnight, getting up early in the morning, whatever your flavor is, you're going to see some beautiful views. They're going to show the coast a lot, and you're probably going to hear at least 100 times this week that Rory shot 61 here when he was 17. So just be prepared for that. It's going to be very annoying.
100 times.
Oh, if he's in contention, it might be 200.
200 times.
Over under set at 150, depending on whether he's in contention.
All right. Well, let me pull up here. Let's look. It's like I said, I have entered 19 lineups. Let's take a look at these guys that we have. I'll clear out this. Clear. Fascinating radio. So, speaking of 100 times a week, Rory McIlroy is the number 1 salaried player this week on DraftKings, as we usually speak. Although I might suggest we switch over to a fantasy draft because they allow you to pick 7 guys and dump your worst score. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I've been playing fantasy draft for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I hear they're going to go rake free too. So we're not getting paid to say that, so let's not get into that.
Let's just say I don't mind the site. It's a good one. I've had some success on there.
I like it. Well, DraftKings is never going to sponsor us, but maybe if we move over to fantasy